Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the newspaper review segment right here on TVC Breakfast. My name is Nelson Et, and of course, I have my wonderful co-hosts this morning, Ibrahim and Veronica, joining me to do justice to the conversation this morning. It's good to join you all again this morning.
Morning,
good to see
Nelson.
you. Nelson, good to see you.
Let's quickly begin with the Nation newspaper. There's quite a lot on politics today, and the Nation is leading the way on this one. At the top right corner of the newspaper this morning, development of bitumen port, my priority, says Ayeda Atiwa. The governor was sworn in yesterday to begin what we call a full fresh tenure,
It's a full fresh tenure
of himself. And he's saying bitumen and port development is his priority. Like we saw yesterday, Veronica, he's been accused by some persons of not continuing with what his former boss did, but he said no.
That paper couched it yesterday.
Exactly,
and I was
you called that out, and he said no, that's not the point.
Right.
It's a continuation. Nomenclature might have changed, but the goal is still the same, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's going to build on what he had started. Yes, he respected and honored his principal's agenda till he finished, and perhaps there were other things that he felt needed to be included
Into that.
That's right.
into that, and that is what he gave a name, seeds. So he decided, I am going to sow these seeds into what has begun, and so they can germinate and benefit from it, because he wants to address poverty.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, he's also someone with his own mind, his own agenda. The fact that he worked with late Rotimi Akeredolu doesn't mean that he doesn't have his own initiative. But the only thing is, all of the projects they've started back in the day, for them to consolidate on it and bring up more initiatives, so that the entirety, the essence of it is to deliver good governance to the people of Ondo State, which
Indeed.
I believe that is what is on top of his mind.
I couldn't agree less. Osun council workers get conflicting directives as Osun local government controversy and legal solution to logjam. A lot is still going on there, but we'll touch on that a bit later. There's a wonderful story I'd like us to discuss. 22-year-old Nigerian Zuriel tipped for Nobel Peace Prize. Vero and Ibrahim, this was very exciting for me to see. This lovely young lady, Zuriel Oduwole, who has been a champion of education. I mean, from the age of 13, she's been negotiating education between countries. I'm wondering, a 13-year-old sitting on a presidential panel to discuss.
We should give kudos to her parents.
That's
who
right.
have continued to ensure that she maintained that tempo and keep that track and not lose focus, because children her age easily lose focus because of the distraction around.
That's
Everybody wants to be amongst what is trending and all of that. But then she has kept this path. I believe that should be an inspiration for younger persons
I couldn't
now.
agree less.
So it's a good one that we're seeing a 22-year-old coming out of Nigeria, where we have a huge number of persons out of school, and we're dealing with a lot when it comes to the youth. But she has said, I will be a beacon of hope to younger generations.
Yes.
Absolutely. She's done a whole lot, beyond speaking for the less privileged, those who are not represented when it comes to education. She's also mediated between Venezuela and Guyana.
Exactly.
In that dispute, and also spoken with former president of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. So you can imagine that young lady, having to achieve that, much that we are struggling to, here what we see, we talk to, who is who. But when you have a young lady who is doing this, it brings us to the fact that yes, we have a lot of people who are coming out from this country and out of this world.
Ibrahim,
doing so
these
well.
are the kinds of things that excite me. This is what I want to see making, how do we call it on social media? Going a buzz on social media instead of some nonsense. Going viral.
Hashtag this, hashtag that.
Some persons
But
coming up to.
gossip sells. So this isn't gossip.
But this should be a good gossip.
Good gossip.
All right, but there's a picture story right there I don't want us to miss, about two actually. We see the vice president and the deputy governor of Lagos yesterday here in Lagos during a conference on world-class smart card production plant, here in Lagos. That's a wonderful one right there. consolidating the pursuit of going digital. And at the bottom, the story you took earlier, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and the Minister of Health yesterday in Kaduna, distributing about 10,000 scrubs and crock sets to midwives. Remember, Veronica, yesterday we took a story where we talked about that health workers need to be given what they deserve to do their job. Yeah. I think this is one of it.
There's a way to go.
We must always give kudos to the wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, for the effort. She's at the forefront of so many things, addressing issues that are critical in the society. I mean, we just talked about her, being one of the channels, or the channel for which women are being empowered across the country. We saw what's happening in the Northeast, where 500 ladies, or about 3,500 ladies are going to be empowered. And now we are seeing her efforts with regards to distribution of midwives. So she's empowering women in the medical sector. That is what this is. So it's not just about women in the rural areas, but every sector. I believe she's doing this sector by sector, and so we might see more of it.
Well, let's make our way right now to this Nigeria newspaper, which is our next focus this morning. At the top nameplate right there, we see tax reforms. Stakeholders, Arewa groups back proposed fiscal laws, where we knew the public hearing had been opened since a Monday, and so different groups have been speaking, and we're seeing backings of the proposed four proposals of the tax reform. Census jinx, we must ascertain actual number of Nigerians, says Tinubu plans to align biometric digital components in population census. About time, since the last one was done in 2006. It's been many years. I mean, so many persons have been born in this country.
And so many persons have also gone.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So,
but I think we're increasing, not decreasing, aren't we?
Well, until we do the counting.
Well, until we do the counting.
So when you go to certain places, for instance, in the north, others will be, there's this contentious, contention about the number of people that we have in this country, especially if you go to the northern part of the country, when they are doing the gerrymandering, like, yes, we have more votes coming from this region more than the others. And what we see is swathe of lands and cows and all of that. So a lot of phantom, ideas that people play up. So when they do this census, it's not targeted at any region. It's just for us to have this so that we can plan economically, we can plan socially and geographically.
Exactly, which is really
I'm wondering why it's been a challenge, why people are afraid of all of that. But move on.
The politics is in the heart of it.
Well, just one more story right there before we leave this Nigeria. Fear, Ipman threatens to withdraw services over 100 billion debt. Well, I'm sure that story will be elaborated on another newspaper as we move quickly this morning to The Blueprint, which is our next paper this morning. NNPCL Ramfak Arewa think tank, others back tax reform bills. And at the top nameplate, 82 billion fraud, ex-Governor Bello's name not on property documents. This is quoting a witness that was called to the stands as that case has commenced. I don't want to say so much on that, but I commend my reserve.
Yeah, so one would not run the risk of sub judice because it's a case that is ongoing in the court. So we may not be prejudicial when it comes to talking about it.
Exactly. And the CDS has given charge to his commanders, act decisively to end terrorism. That's a good one right there. And we're looking to see the result of that order given by the Chief of Defense Staff to the military commanders. Reinstated Osun LG chairman issues 72-hour ultimatum to workers. Veronica and Ibrahim, I'm wondering if they're issuing this to workers. Workers are considering their own safety. If we come back to the office, are we going to be safe?
They are saying they are also getting conflicting directives. NLC is saying one thing, the people are saying another thing. So it's been a challenging one for them. And like you rightly said, their safety is key, knowing all of the battles surrounding this whole matter of them coming back to work and all of it. So I think that the government, the governor needs to take a decisive step on the direction. He needs to give a direction for the state to
Very
go,
important.
because whatever is going on now is affecting the state
Very important.
economically and even the workers. But that step he took is actually what is the bone of contention right now, where he got a directive, there was a court injunction saying do not go ahead, but he still acted on his own directive.
Absolutely. So we have the Attorney General of the Federation, we have the Governor, and we have the APC. Forth and back.
All in the mix.
The court of, so there's a ruling Court of Appeal. There's another one, Federal High Court in Osun State. And what do we follow? So a lot of lawyers are, using their legalese, to tackle this situation. But we'll see what happens at the end of the day, whether it's null and void or not.
As we see that also on the Tribune newspaper this morning, Nigerian Tribune is our next paper. Quoting El-Rufai here, very bold, APC has left me. The writer here says, Tinubu, not Senate, rejected his ministerial nomination for implementation of president's economic policies, hints at possibility of joining another political platform, but he rules out the PDP. Well, it's his choice.
Maybe because he's ruling out the PDP, probably because he said he would rather, until Satan converts to Islam, that's the only time he will join the PDP. So he didn't want to have to.
I'm not sure what his bones...
For politicians,
the bones he has to
anything they
pick.
say, please.
No, that's what he said.
I'm not sure
agree.
the bones he has to pick with the president. I mean, he offered you this position,
That's right.
and there were issues around it at the Senate, and now you're saying he is the one that rejected you, not the Senate. Well...
But there's a very disturbing story right here on the Nigerian Tribune. Police begin probe as residents claim 22 killed in door clashes. When I checked this up, I saw that this happened around Ovia, Southwest local government area on Friday, and some persons were affected, as militants invaded a farmland. Again, this borders on the conversation around insecurity, and we must always do all we can to not allow this to fester.
Absolutely.
But quickly, Ibrahim and Veronica, let's get this morning to the Punch newspaper, which is our next this morning. And it is on Lagos Assembly matter. Miranda may step down as Akonde panel shortlists 7. Panel recommends Obasa's resignation. Akonde Oshoba to brief Tinubu on report. And now, there could be a matter on this, but I am hoping that this shortlisted names has more female than male. But there's another story I'd like us to look at before we take a run from this. $4.5 billion fraud. Emefiele alleges buyers demands judges withdrawal. I don't know exactly how that they plan to fix this, but we'll be seeing as this unfolds. Veronica and Ibrahim. But because of the want of time, let's move on to our next paper this morning, which is The Guardian. And there's something right here, 53,255 pre-trial detainees languish in jail despite push to pardon politicians. This is quoting them. I'm wondering why this number is that much for pre-trial detainees. We need to do as much as we can to expedite, and ensure that people who are in prison get justice.
There's a whole lot of people who have to spend, more than 2, 5, 10 years before they even face the judges. And
Indeed.
I don't think that's right for us to have a lot of people in the prison without a trial.
Indeed, but there's a story as well here. Native doctors protest alleged witch hunt by Soludo's administration. Looks to me like the native doctors themselves are also, advocating for their human rights.
They have a right.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are first of all citizens or indigents of that state, and so if they feel hard done by the policies of the government of the state, they have a right to speak, and so they are speaking. Whatever it is their job is, or whatever it is they are doing, they have a right to practice.
And finally, as we make our way to the sporting life, Atalanta made you extraordinary as player-managers relationship gets frosty. We don't want our players and managers' relationship to get frosty so that the game of winning is not affected on the football pitch. But Veronica and Ibrahim, that's where we let it